Yeah.
Because I'm like, where did? Note the roll.
Yes.
Appearances, is there anybody to appear on an item that is not on the agenda? There's nobody in the room and there's nobody on the Zoom and nobody in the waiting room, so we can close the appearance section. Go on to the approval of minutes from October 26, 2023. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
A second?
Second,
Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? All right, minutes have been approved. Item 5 is a public hearing by Tim and Sarah Cahill.
Yeah.
Okay. At 1204 Brookhaven Circle, and they're requesting variance from the Monona Municipal Code of Ordinance, section 4A24D 4B, the side yard setbacks, and Monona Municipal Code of Ordinances 480-24D 4D, the shore yard setbacks, for the purpose of building a second floor addition to the main structure, and this is case number Z 010-2023. And Tim and Sarah, if you just want to join us, during the public hearing section, it's kind of best to kind of just give a brief overview of what it is, the project that you're looking to do, specifically highlighting the variance components of it. And then if there's anybody that ends up joining for the public hearing section, we'll allow them an opportunity to speak. And then we'll close that section and move on to the second part, which is the consideration for action. So we'll let you take it over.
All right. So, yes, hi, Sarah, Tim. So we are requesting the side yard and shore yard setbacks and for completion of construction on the second floor of our home. Today, this area is an open balcony. And so what we'd like to do is enclose this space. So the construction we're proposing is on the exact footprint of our home as it exists today. We're looking to do this construction for a couple of different reasons. The first is that the flat roof on this balcony is in disrepair and needs to be replaced. So currently there's water pooling, several areas of soft spots and risk of leaking. And this was noted in both our home inspection, and then we also had a roof specialist take a look at it, and both of them recommended that it be replaced as soon as possible. And then sort of looking to the future, this just, is an ongoing problem with those exposed flat roof situations. And then another reason that we're wanting to do this construction is just really to safety. We have two little kids. Our daughter is 4 and our son is 1. And our daughter's bedroom actually opens out onto this balcony. She's got access to the balcony, which, as you can imagine with little kids, is, causes some concern. And then due to the narrow lot, the narrow lots in this area, and then also the existing placement of the home, our current footprint is what already encroaches by 5 feet of shore yard and 3 feet of side yard. So we're not asking for any further encroachment. We wouldn't encroach any more than it already is. We're just asking to enclose the space that already exists over that first floor. And then by utilizing the first floor walls, the construction benefits from those load bearing walls and just the structural integrity of the first floor by building straight up. We enclosed a letter from the contractor who also shared concerns about, tearing up that first floor to add additional support and additional footings. And then also just, it would, be further expense and further limit, it would limit our, usability of that living space on the first floor. We believe enclosing this space would not be out of character with other homes in our area. It would not, create an adverse impact to the neighbors. So sort of to summarize and think about those, items on the decision matrix. So as we were thinking about the property limitations, that's where we're thinking about that narrow lot and the existing footprint already being over the zoning requirements. And then the hardship is around, the damage, potential leaking, safety concerns with the flat roof, and the wish to repair and enclose that space over the existing first floor to provide optimal structural support and building integrity. And then we believe no harm to public interest.
And we have nobody joined in the waiting room. Nobody else here. We can close the public hearing section. We go on to item 6, which is the consideration of action for Tim and Sarah Cahill at 1204 Brookhaven Circle, and the request of variance from Monona Municipal Code Ordinance, section 480-24D4B, the side yard setbacks, and Monona Municipal Code Ordinances 480-24D4D, the shore yard setbacks for the purpose of building a second floor addition to the main structure. Case number Z10-2023. Doug, you wanna kick us off?
Thank you. So as mentioned by the applicants, there are two variances that are being requested this evening. It is the side yard setbacks, and that would be on the southern side of the property, closest to 1202 Birchhaven Circle, as well as the shore yard setbacks as well, closest to the lagoon. As mentioned again, the request here is to add a second floor addition to the property. Existing footprint, same as what is already there, but because of the volume expansion and the fact that it is within those setbacks, that is what requires and what necessitates the variance request here. So I did look at all the other elements, worked with both the applicants as well as the builder, just to confirm things like the height and things like that are all in compliance. So it is really these two elements. It is also clear of the floodplain as well, and of course being the second story as well. That's, you know, there are no concerns with any of those things. It's the side yard and the shore yard. Thanks.
All right. Anybody want to start out?
I have a couple questions. Hello. Do you all use the balcony now?
We don't know.
No.
It has, oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, it has like what we called out, numerous soft spots that feel like if you step on them, and in some of the photos we attached to the document, that those are what those are. But it feels like your foot could almost go through parts of it. So we kind of stay off of there in general, and the only two access points to that are through bedrooms anyways. And then, yeah, as far as like with the little kids, it's like glass panel rail, and so I just don't know how much it can withstand, so we kind of just don't use it at all.
Okay. And then I'm just kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but on the plans I see, you maintain a small balcony, it looks like, on one of the corners.
Yes,
Of
that would
the-
be off the master bedroom. We would
Okay,
just,
so
yeah, maintain that small bit.
okay, and those are glass panels as well
Yes, we
Yeah.
would.
on your
I think-
plans. Okay.
I think the plans were just to, if we got down that road, we've been on the fence of keeping, if we were approved to keep the porch at all or enclose that as well. As more of like a Four Seasons kind of thing. So what we have now is kind of a cost saver. If we did do that way, would be repurposing just the corner where the master bedroom is the only place that connects to it, which would be obviously our room, not the 4-year-old's room. So that's pretty much it.
That's all I have right now, thanks.
I think it's ambitious that you think your 4-year-old isn't going to be using your bedroom as their own master bedroom.
Right.
So am I clear in my understanding that there's an existing non-conforming use?
Yes, the existing footprint encroaches on current zoning, yes.
And at present, the plans aren't to encroach any further on that existing non-conforming, correct?
That's correct, just the roof overhang, but the structure itself will be flush.
Okay.
with that.
Okay.
But the roof overhang will be in line with the roof overhang that is like the, I don't know what you call that, the little roof overhang of the first story.
Yeah, like that jut out thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be the same as that.
It can be the same.
So there's no additional roof overhang that's protruding any further.
Yeah.
Than what already exists.
And
Great.
we do allow that in the zoning as well, for unsupported overhangs, just the roof pitch and things like that. So that's certainly within the scope, and would again actually be covered with, you know, side yard anyways.
I'll ask some of the drawings threw me for a little loop. I think I got them figured out. But when I look at what is listed as the west wall elevation, maybe, this one, if you can see,
Mhm.
versus this one.
Mhm.
And when I look at this west wall version, the roof line seems to be in line with the current roof line. But when I look at this elevation, the roof line of this is different than the roof pitch that is there from the front side of the house.
Oh, you think it's like lower, you mean?
So you can tell that this is your current roof line of the front of the house. And in this image, it made it look like this was down here.
Yeah.
The same line.
Yeah, yeah.
But in essence, this is really like this, if I have it understood correctly. So in the back, it's enclosing and wrapping the flat part of the roof to include that second story, so the 8 feet plus whatever, right? And then it's a pitched roof above that. And that pitch of that roof, is it really an additional story in there?
There would be like attic space sort of where the mechanicals
Okay,
would be housed.
Yeah.
Because it will need another HVAC system.
Yes.
So there is like attic space.
okay,
Yeah, so then what, I guess, then the reason for that pitch is to fit a new like furnace HVAC system in there.
okay.
But that's why the sizes are what they are. But,
And then on so what had me, why this question came up is on this one. It shows our height to the midpoint of the 22, and you gotta be in the 35.
35. Yep.
So I'm like, oh, plenty of room, but then when I looked at this, I'm like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't line up right. And that's where I was trying to figure out, like, okay, if we do 8 plus some change for other mechanicals in between each floor, let's just round up to 10, just for fun right now, okay? 10, 20, and if this was really a full level, we're at 30 and potentially more. And I want to ensure that we're not exceeding our height. Kind of ordinance piece of like, you have 35 feet to the midpoint
Yeah.
of the pitch from the lowest point possible. So in this case, it's going to be the elevation back here. So that midpoint can't exceed the 35.
for sure.
Okay.
So whatever. If there was a motion for approval tonight, there'll likely be a piece that is added in
To like.
to
make
ensure
sure
that that piece
For sure.
doesn't exceed.
35. Got it.
Especially when these two photos make it seem slightly different.
Yeah, that is strange. I didn't really see that before, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, that makes sense. I think. From talking with the contractor originally, what he mentioned is that this space, like at the peak. Would be 8.5 feet, I think is what it is in the dead
Sounds
center.
more reasonable, yeah.
So that, I don't think it's like, it's not heavily pitched.
Yeah,
It's
it's because from this front side, it looks like it because you have those dormers up
Right.
front.
Yeah.
which Makes it seem much lower, taller.
Yeah.
And it does, the house, like in general, like it has like a low grade to it kind of going up from the front, so it would looks more dramatic, I guess, in this than I
Yes.
would see in person. It's like.
Yeah, when you look at.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm like,
it's
whoa, that's crazy looking,
Yeah.
but looks like a spaceship.
The two images from the front of your house, so the east and west elevations, they make it look
Right.
like that's what you were hoping to get as a.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Your addition.
another one.
When you look at those, you're like, hang on, wait a minute, that's
Yeah.
not what we were looking
How
at.
you look at a house, yeah. No, I get that, but I think it's 8.5 is the peak of like the truss itself, and so that's like as big as like the space for the storage in there will be.
And Doug, I think according to the drawings, if I match them all up, it looks like the pitch, they're trying to stay consistent with the other truss pitch. of the roof system. So
I,
it's not like they're trying to do a big 12-12 up on the top.
no, I believe so, that there is a sheet sort of after the drawings, and there's a couple here that do show the 22-foot 8 inches sort of to the midpoint of the rear addition. And this was a request just to confirm, as I'm going through this, make sure there's not a height exception or anything like that that's being requested. And that does go onto the next sheet, people in the room, sort of the cross section of the house. You can see that one, it sort of shows the insulation and things like that. It shows two 8-foot tall stories, sort of the residential areas, and then obviously the mechanical space above. And again, that 22.8 is consistent as well. So I think some discrepancies there between scaling of drawings and things, but
Something just doesn't seem right.
yeah, and certainly from a staff perspective, we go off these plans, and if it's being built to 35 or something, that would be surprising to us. So certainly, I think between the two, I think there's sort of two different people that may have worked on that, so there's some discrepancies between them, but we go off the dimension plans, so that's what we stick to.
As someone probably hoping to pay for this, you're gonna wanna make sure you line that up. and
Yeah.
Figure out what you're getting,
Yeah,
because at a 612 pitch, the width of this building, it's gonna be a lot more than 8 feet,
What the,
because it's more than a 12-foot wide. I mean, what does that span across? Is it 24?
38,
38 feet, and you're at 612. That's 18 foot.
the truss, like on the top,
So this height of this truss, from bottom to the top of the truss, it's gonna be 18 feet. Which is what this is.
yeah, I mean. I don't know like anything, but we had the trusses sitting on our lawn all summer and it's burned a hole in our grass.
But you
But
had a
there's-
couch delivered today.
Yeah,
I was over checking out the room.
yeah, that's true, that was yesterday.
Or yesterday, yeah.
That truss that was there, it wasn't 18 feet, it was like there's like an 8.5, like 7-foot hole maybe in the middle, that's like the storage space when they're pre-built. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so maybe
They're like long.
this might be listed as 612, but
Yeah,
and maybe they're not doing.
and typically in this instance, what I would say is there is the leeway to go up to 35 feet, so within the zoning dimensions and requirements, but certainly. I think clarifying this just with the discrepancy between the plans, I think prior to any building permits, if the board chooses to approve the variance, I think just having that clarified. between the two, would certainly make sense.
Yeah, I would hope it's not 18 feet, it'd be a lot different, I think the whole house might sink, yeah.
Right. It's a lot to even eat.
Yeah,
right, that's true.
yeah. So that's not what I think it is, but if it is,
You'll find out.
yeah.
You'll find out. Other questions or clarifications that people need? Anybody willing to make a motion?
Well, I had a question about whether or not any other alternatives were explored. Simply repairing the condition or alternatives to the structure that wouldn't require a variance.
Yeah, in terms of repair, definitely an option, but I think just the ongoing maintenance and issues that flat exposed roofs have, and then the safety factor for us was just a bigger deal in wanting to enclose that space. And then in terms of an alternate design, that would cause a need for supports to be added to the first floor. Sort of limiting then that living space on our first floor. So that's where using the exterior walls today just gives that structural stability and best utilizes, I think, the support that exists today with the first floor walls.
Doug, was there anything on file from the previous? My guess is this area that's under the flat roof was an addition to the original structure. Was there anything on file for that?
Nothing that I came across for variance. The assumption would be this is legal, non-conforming, that was not an issue with that, but I did not pull the file specifically, so comments to that.
Doug, do you know if the lot is a particularly narrow lot?
You know, oh,
Yeah, 50 feet wide, it's fairly narrow. You know, I think we would typically see more in the 60 to 80. I think it's typical for Birchhaven. I think they're pretty similar in this area. But it is, you know, with the 7 feet on either side, you're down to 36 feet of buildable. So I'd say sort of on the narrower side, you've certainly got the depth, but it does, between the shore yard, the street yard, make things a little tricky. So certainly not incredibly, not the narrowest I've seen, but on the smaller side, I would say.
Brad, were you mapping out a possible motion?
Maybe.
All right. Now, do we have a minimum lot width?
Yes, and I believe it's 60 feet at building line.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's, yeah, I would say today this would be would not be a lot to be pretty.
Which I think helps people understand the limitation of the narrow lots.
And I believe it's under 10,000 square feet total.
Yeah, it's like 70 dB.
Yeah. And it would be 10,000 for a new one as well. So just dimensionally, it is smaller than a new one typically be.
Yeah, 72.95. All right, Brad.
I will make a motion. I'm going to make a motion to approve. I'm going to say there's a unique physical property limitation based upon the narrowness of the lot. It's on the narrow side. And given the depth between the shore and street yards, I think there's an unnecessary hardship. I think if there was going to be repair here from my reading materials and hearing from the applicants, the alternative would be prohibitively expensive and require tearing down parts of the lower level of the house in order to achieve what they're looking to achieve to meet the zoning requirements. And if they just simply repair it, I think they're just going to continue to run into the same kind of issue, even with more modern building materials, given the nature of the flat roof and the construction that's already in place. I don't think it harms the public interest. I think there's a long-term benefit to the public interest by not having a property that needs to be consistently maintained. I think it's going to increase the marketability of the property and probably more attractive properties to the eye. And there's no neighbors that appear to be against, and a number that are in full support. I think so I'd move to approve based on that. There was some discussion of some limitations or amendments to be added to that, but I didn't quite fully catch all of those. So maybe someone else wants to articulate those.
We'll go for a second and then we'll add that in.
I was just gonna say that they have to comply with the height restrictions.
You okay with the
Yes.
addition of the height restriction, just to have it listed as part of that? Perfect. Is there a second?
I'll
We
Second.
must not be live. Oh. All right, we have a second.
Second.
Perfect. We are going to pause for just a second. Maybe try to.
Thanks.
Is there money in it?
Nobody comes.
Oh,
Someone's like,
work notes and stuff.
No. Not mine.
Not mine.
Yeah.
Gibberish.
All right, so we have a motion and we have a second.
You were the second.
Yeah.
Whoever.
Yeah, take your pick. Any additional questions, comments, concerns? Everything clear as mud to you guys. So this, if this motion passes, then it would approve the variance, you then follow up with Doug. I think the biggest thing is you have some differences between these plans. You probably are gonna wanna get those figured out before any building permits get issued.
Yeah.
All right, seeing no other questions, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion is passed. All right,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, we can move on to item 7, which is the next meeting date.
Do you want to wait or just?
No.
Okay.
No.
Perfect.
No harm in bailing, you would have to be polite, sit around.
All right.
All right. All right, Doug, anything you want to fill us in?
So the December meeting will be canceled, so close to the holidays there, so we'll be planning just to reconvene in January 18th.
Any updates on DEIB or sustainability?
Nothing from Sam.
All right. The motion for adjournment,
Also move.
a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks.